Hey guys, it's Nadia from LiaDia Designs, and today we're making a spiral goddess resin tray. I'm going to be hand painting the details and using real dried flowers. So here's my design. I sketched it out. I had traced the outline of the tray, and then I drew my design inside so that I kind of had a gauge of where I wanted everything to land. And inside the tray here, I have poured a thin layer of clear resin. So now I can line this up and then draw my design on it. As you can see, I made the design a little bit too large for the interior of this tray, so I'm going to have to shift things a little bit when I get drawing. But before we get started with that, I'm going to be using my Pebeo Gold Cerny Relief Outliner for this design. I do have options, which I'm going to show you now, and we'll see you on the other side. Okay guys, so let's talk about how to draw on your resin. So once your resin's cured, you can use one of these products to actually draw the dandelion design on your coasters. I have my preferred product for this, but I wanted to give you guys some options because what I realized over the last couple of months with the pandemic is that it was becoming increasingly difficult to find the product that I normally use, and I wanted to give you guys options and alternatives just in case you weren't able to find um, my recommended product. So, so before I was a resin artist, I actually used to draw on ceramics and glass, and I used to use this product here. It's called a Vitria. It's by Pebeo. It's called Vitria 160, and it's specifically for glass. Um, the way this works is you would draw on the glass of the ceramics, and then you would bake the item for 30 to 40 minutes, and that would set the paint onto it. So then it becomes washable, very durable, and it's just very specific for that use. But I really enjoyed working with this outliner, so I wanted to see if it would work with resin. And obviously, I wouldn't be able to bake the resin, but I figured that maybe if I was able to put a clear layer on top, then that would seal it in. And luckily for me, it does work. So again, I'm sure you're familiar with how this looks, but that is how that looks. The second alternative I came up with was trying to use an acrylic paint such as this DecoArt Extreme Sheen Pearl, which has a similar coloring as the Vitria Pearl. But what I was finding when I tried to use it all by itself is that the paint was a little bit too thin, like the viscosity of it was too thin. So you'll see how that turned out on this test piece here. It's just a little bit too runny. So what was happening is that you weren't getting those sharp, distinctive design lines in here. It was just kind of all really soft and kind of mushy looking. So wasn't great. But what I tried after that is I actually mixed a little bit of this Liquitex Liquid Thickening Gel to the DecoArt. And like I said, not a lot, very little. And what it does is it just thickens it up just enough so that it's perfect to be put into one of these precision applicator bottles. And then you can just pipe it out just like you would if you were doing henna or, again, something similar to this. So I'll show you what it looks like once. So this applicator bottle is very common for henna artists. It's also used for many other types of mediums. You can find it at most craft stores, hobby stores, or even on Amazon. So I'll just show you how that looks. So it just pipes out just like that. And I'll show you as well in comparison to the Vitria. So there you can see it. They're very similar, a little bit different in coloring, but very, very, very similar. So that was the two options that I think are the best. If you're not able to, sorry, let me actually show you the coaster with it. So again, you can see it works very well. Now, if you're not able to find either of these two options, and you need a very kind of simple option that maybe doesn't require any mixing or something maybe you already have, you could definitely just go straight to just a simple matte acrylic color. So this one here is called Basics by Liquitex. So I didn't mix this one. It actually I actually did sorry, I did mix it. I took the titanium white and I tried to make it pearl. I took some pearl um, pigment powder, and I tried to mix it to get that pearl sheen. The titanium white wasn't having it, so basically it just sucked up all that pigment powder and still looked super white when it was done. So I'll show you what that looks like here. So you can see it doesn't have that pearlescence to it. It's more of a flat white, but it does have a similar look. So like I said, and if you can't find any other products, this one works just as well in terms of holding up its shape and getting the design done for you. It just doesn't have that pearlescence to it. And maybe if you do find a brand similar to this that does have a pearlescent color, that might work just fine as well. I wasn't able to find any, just kind of, rummaging around so what I have in stock here. So I use this and I think it worked just fine as a, quote unquote basic option. And again, I just put that inside one of these precision applicators that has the metal tip, and then I just piped it through. So again, needs my needle to, I guess. So the great one thing about these applicator tips is sometimes they do get a little bit clogged. They do come with these pins, so you can just kind of clear it out quickly. And then again, piping a line. So there you go. So you can see how much whiter that is than the pearl. So again, it can definitely work depending on the design you're looking for or just what you have available to you. So there you go. So those are the three options. Hopefully between these three, you can find something that works for you. All right, so I'm ready to get started, and I'm going to start by outlining our goddess in this gold outliner. And the one thing that's great about painting on clear resin is that we do have this option of being able to create our design, put it underneath the mold, and then basically trace it. When I'm painting on opaque or solid colors of resin, I don't obviously have this option. So then I am more freehanding those designs. But this makes things a little bit easier, especially if you're a beginner and you're not really sure if you're able to do it freehand without having some sort of template. So this makes that a little bit easier. For those of you who are not familiar with this symbol, it caught my attention because it's such an empowering symbol for women, and just the balance of humans and nature and the circle of life and evolution. And obviously the spiral also represents new life and that cycle as well. And it's just such a beautiful symbol just about how humans are able to grow, evolve, and change over time. I wanted to match this symbol with some nature and some leaves, and I will be adding the dried flowers on this piece as well. And I think together it will turn into something really beautiful. So I'm going to continue painting here, and we'll go into a time lapse. For those of you who enjoy watching me paint, you can continue watching here, and then we'll move on to this next step at the end. Okay, so it's been about an hour and now I'm ready to add my flowers. So as you can see, you can touch the outliner drawing and nothing moves. And I found these packages of dried flowers on Amazon, and I'm going to be layering those on the top above our goddess. I'm going to be using some gloss varnish, and I'm just going to be kind of using it as a glue almost, and just kind of putting it on the tray, and then we'll be sticking our flowers to it. I know a lot of people would say that I could just pour resin and then just add it at that time when I do a top coat on this piece, but um, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I want to make sure I'm not rushing myself when it comes to placing these flowers, because my resin does have a working time of about 30 minutes, which doesn't give me quite enough time to, be nitpicky about where I'm placing everything. So by doing it this way, it's gonna hold everything in place. And so then when I pour my resin, I'm not gonna also be worried about anything moving, and it's gonna basically just, you know, be exactly how I envisioned it. So again, we'll go into a quick time lapse because this took me absolutely forever to nitpick on where I was putting everything. So you guys can enjoy that. And it's sped up by quite a bit. I think it's like 400%. So just know that I was extremely slow on this point of the piece, but I enjoyed every second of it. So I hope you guys do too. Okay, so we have our flowers in place now, and I'm going to be adding some sparkles. So I have these new glitters from Let's Resin. It comes in a pack of 12, and there's all these beautiful colors, but I'm going to be using the kind of like an iridescent white right now for our goddess, and I'm mixing that again with our gloss varnish. And I've been asked about the consistency and ratio of the varnish to the glitter. You want to kind of think of it as almost like glittery nail polish, where it's chunky in terms of it's got a little bit of thickness to it, because you want there to be, the glitter is going to show up. You don't want it to be too thin, but at the same time, just kind of obviously still easily workable. So I hope that makes sense. I don't know exact ratios. It's not a lot, and it obviously also depends on how much glitter you need and how much you need for your piece. So I would just say it's just, you don't want it to be too thin that you're getting more gloss than glitter when you try to paint. You want it to be that every time you're painting, you're getting a good amount of glitter. So again, think of it like nail polish, hopefully that makes sense. So we're going to go ahead and fill in our goddess here, and we're also going to be painting in the vines with leaves on it as well. So again, another time lapse, and we'll see you on the other side. Okay, so it's been about 6 to 8 hours and we have left our tray to dry and it's just looking so pretty. And I have my resin here that we're just going to top coat this and seal everything in place. So carefully pour everything over, and then once we have everything poured, we will use the heat gun to get out the bubbles and then let that sit overnight, and then we'll unmold it in the morning. So it's the next morning and I am ready to take this out of the mold. So we can see how this actually looks now that it's clear. And there we go. I love this. It's so pretty. Yeah, so I did notice that there's a few little bubbles and little raised spots. So I decided that I was going to add a flood coat on top. So it's kind of like doming the piece on top. And you'll see some little bits of flashing from my camera, and that is because my SD card was getting full. So it was actually going to shut off on me. It was trying to warn me, but I didn't pay attention. So you'll see me do this, and then all I did at the end of this was I used my torch to get the bubbles out, and then I let it to sit overnight and ready for its final reveal in the morning. So here she is, and again, I am just blown away with how pretty this piece turned out. I think it's just so worthy of a goddess, and I hope you guys liked it too. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment. Thank you so much, guys. Take care. Bye.